David and...
I heard. Good evening and welcome to the Charlton Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, November 10th, 2015. I'll ask that we begin with a pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our agenda for this evening consists of review of the minutes of the Selectmen's regular meeting of October 27th, 2015, which will be followed by community relations, announcements, and open forum. We have nothing under appointments or resignations this evening. We have one scheduled appointment at 6:45 with National Grid to discuss winter electricity prices. We have one item under new business, which is a request to initiate the hiring of 3 permanent intermittent police officers. That's with Chief Purvier. We have one item under old business, which is discussion on the Casella Southbridge landfill expansion. We will then have any committee reports or policy reviews that may be ready. We will have our student select persons report, our town administrators report, and then we will cover any other business that was unknown at the time of the posting of this agenda. We will go into executive session this evening. We will exit executive session solely for the purpose of adjournment. We will be hosting a conflict of interest seminar on November 17th, 2015 in this room, the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 5 p.m. for town employees, 6:30 p.m. for all boards and committee members and commissions. And then our next regular Selectmen's meeting will be on Tuesday, November 24th. I would ask the board's wishes with regards to the minutes of the regular meeting of October 27th.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Zafirovich?
I move that we accept the October 27th meeting minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? None appearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We have a few items we have a few announcements this evening. Again, we will be holding a conflict of interest seminar Tuesday, November 17th at the Town Hall in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 5 p.m. for employees, 6:30 p.m. for all boards, commissions, and committee members. The Charlton Christmas Concert and Tree Lighting Ceremony will be held on Sunday, December 6th at 4:30 p.m. at the Charlton Town Common and Library. Singing and performances will be at the library in Dexter Hall. There will be individual singers and performers, as well as students from Shepherd Hill Regional High School, Charlton Middle School, and the Federated Church. Girl Scouts will be providing hot chocolate, and Santa will be arriving via a Charlton fire truck as part of the Festival of Lights parade at approximately 6 p.m. when the Christmas tree will be lit. Town Hall will be closed on Wednesday, November 11th, 2015, in observance of Veterans Day. And the Charlton Arts and Activities Council is looking for the following: an event director, a building rental coordinator, a bookkeeper with an accounting background, and there are volunteers needed for events to help set up and handle parking, hostesses, and children's programs. And events in November at the Charlton Arts and Activities Center include the play Wedding Secrets for 2 weekends, November 13th, 14th, 15th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Saturday, November 21st, 2015 is the Craft Store Open House, and you can meet the crafters. And there are programs of ongoing music lessons for piano, voice, drums, guitar, and wind instruments, as well as art lessons. And some items needed at the Activity Center are a VCR DVD player and a large TV. If you want to address any of those needs of the Activities Council, please contact Sandra Bacon at 508-612-0293. The Charlton Fire Department would like to remind you to keep space heaters 3 feet away from things that will burn. Again, any space heaters that you use, and please keep them at least 3 feet away from any flammable objects. And the Christmas Craft Sale 2015 at the Grange Hall at 10 Main Street in Charlton is sponsored by the Charlton Senior Center's Golden Age Club. Christmas items will be available to purchase on November 23rd, 24th, and 25th from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And they'll include handmade wreaths, ornaments, and other holiday items. Stop in and have a cup of coffee and pastries on the house. There'll be raffles, goodies, and friends. And I do have one more announcement. In conjunction with the Marine Corps Reserve's Toys for Tots program, The Charlton Police will be hosting our annual Fill a Cruiser campaign on November 21st from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Residents are encouraged to stop by the police station and donate a new, unwrapped toy for a child or teen. If they are not able to make it on the 21st, we will have a collection bin in the police station lobby, as well as numerous places throughout the town. Thank you. That's from Officer McGrath for the Toys for Tots program with the Charlton Police. Do we have any other announcements? Do we have anyone here for open forum? Mr. Meskis.
I bet you knew I was.
I had a feeling.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for a bit of your time. Just a progress update on the project out front. I supplied the selectmen with some pictures here, and of course, an email went out to all the department heads and employees and such. So we've had some great progress in the past week. The site is coming together, and we're working on the parking and everything diligently because we know paving season ends around Thanksgiving. The block work is up, the steel is up to support the roof structure and such, and we're working on getting the brick up. We do have an important municipal building committee meeting this Thursday to look at a few colors of a few things, and we have a job meeting following that. So, you know, we do have a shaft now. I won't make the joke about it, but that's going along, and we hope to you know, in the next couple of weeks, get the brickwork up and then get the roof on, and then the storefront or the glass will come after that. And then there's a whole bunch of precast is what it's called, but new steps. We're overlaying precast on the steps at the front of the town hall to make them look nicer and everything. And the site guy actually was pretty pleased. We, you know, said we were gonna reuse the existing slope curbing, and he looked at the pile of it and went, "You really wanna use that?" And today he said, "Gee, you know, that really looks better than I thought." So we're trying to be economical and reuse materials that we have. We've had some donated granite curbing from some various sources that Highways helped us out and transport it to the site, and hopefully we can get the major of the outside work done, you know, by Thanksgiving week, the week after is what they're telling me. But,
Terrific.
so we're just looking at all those things.
I enjoy the challenge of every time I come to the building, figuring out which door I'm supposed to
Yeah,
go
which
in at any given
is the
time.
right door this week? Yes, yes, and we have had a few incidents with that. We did have an interesting incident that somebody walked out one of the closed doors right onto the almost dry concrete, but we fixed that up rather quickly. So the site superintendent got a hold of the sidewalk guy right away, and he came back with his broom and
Touched it up a little.
fixed it up. So we reinforced some of the signage and you know, some Halloween tape has been being used to indicate that, no, don't go out this way. So that's all we have. Thank you very much, and we look forward to, you know, getting this site cleaned up and getting back to as much of a normal operation as we can. You know, we have been talking to Elaine down in Council on Aging, and you know, they definitely want to come back.
I'm sure they do.
Hopefully with some work tomorrow that's gonna be done, we'll get some of the last of the dust and heavy demolition done, and then be able to get some concrete poured downstairs, and then reconstruct the ramp, and with some careful, you know, stuff, allow some of the senior activities to return to the town hall, so.
All the door, parking, dirt, and nuisance issues aside, it's exciting to see the work finally getting done and the progress being made. So our thanks to the Municipal Building Committee for, and yourself for the work on this project.
I'm very happy and proud to see that it's coming along, and we do have some good help working on the project now. There's been a few changes, and it's moved things along.
Terrific. Thank you. Oh, do you have a question? Yes, ma'am. If you'd come up, please. If you'd have a seat and state your name.
Sure. My name's Kirsty Pecci, staff attorney from Asperg. When I spoke to the chairman of the Board of Health from Sturbridge today, she said she'd sent an invitation to this board regarding a landfill forum that's being held on the 30th. So she asked that I bring hard copies to you. A resident of Sturbridge asked the Board of Health to hold a forum to invite all boards and commissions for all three communities, all the tri-community, as well as representatives from the DEP, MEPA, and our representatives and senators. So just want to give you a hard copy so you have it. I think it's coming by email too.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone else for open forum this evening? We have a few minutes before our 6:45 appointment, so why don't we move, Ms. Craver, if we can, to our new business, our item under new business, which is a request to initiate the hiring of 3 permanent intermittent police officers.
Yes, sir. Okay. You've received a letter from Chief Purvier asking the board to vote to allow him to initiate the process for hiring 3 permanent intermittent officers for the Charlton Police Department. By hiring 3 permanent intermittent officers, he can accomplish 2 goals. The first would be to establish a pool of permanent intermittent officers who can be utilized to fill open shifts at straight time on those occasions when full-time officers choose not to work, which results in forcing full-time officers in and paying them to work at the rate of time and a half. Second, by having these permanent intermittent officers as part of the Charlton Police Department, he would be accorded the opportunity for him and his staff to review said officer's performance on the job prior to promoting one of the 3 to a permanent full-time position. What is the board's wishes?
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Cooper?
I have a couple of questions. I'm wondering how he determined that 3 was the necessary number. I'm wondering if this is similar to per diem, or if it's some other form of hiring, and if it is some other form of hiring, would things like unemployment or benefits be necessary?
Chief?
Okay, first, they're not like per diem because they're civil service, and as far as part-time, we had 3 recently. One person is now a full-time officer out of those 3. One person lateral to Ware, and one person respectfully decided that he didn't want to continue his career in as a police officer, and he went back to his full-time, well, he never left his full-time job, but he decided to stay as a corrections officer. So we had those 3. So I would just say to you that there's a lot, if you just go next door in Oxford, they have like a half a dozen officers. And a lot of the communities, you know, bring the part-time people on so that you can see those officers, see how they work, and so that way you have a longer period of evaluating them. And then if there was, you know, like I said in my letter, if there was an opportunity, you know, for, like an officer didn't want to work in overtime, then we could supplement with these officers. Oxford actually has part-time shifts. Currently, I don't have the monies to have a regular part-time shift rotation. I'll tell you that the town of Shrewsbury, at least their past practice used to be, was to appoint people into the permanent intermittent, and then as they had openings, they would draw off of that. Some of those officers never hit the street until there was full-time openings. I'm not looking to do that. You have to maintain, you know, your in-service accreditation, you know, your in-service credentials each year with the training, and I would like to utilize these officers, you know, as needed, as I stated in my letter.
Mrs. Zafirovich?
When you go to hire one of these as a full-time officer, do you get priority choosing one of these permanent intermittent officers, or do you have to go through the entire civil service process again?
All right, so every time is a little different, so let me just explain it to you kind of in a Reader's Digest version. So when you make a request to the Department of Human Services, there's several lists that come to you. One is, there's like a layoff list, so what they call a reemployment list. There's a list of people that are right at the top. If they were the son or a daughter of a deceased firefighter or police officer or permanently disabled, they appear on all the lists throughout the whole state. Those people are there. So when you're requesting to promote, okay, then you know, you have to, you know, look at those people too. More often than not, you don't get anybody, because a lot of them are more Boston-based, and as far as responding to openings, when they do get their either email or card notification. But those people are entitled to that. So there's never a guarantee that the people, but before that you can go and ask for somebody off of your current list, they ask you first, do you have people on your permanent intermittent roster? And if you do, then you choose from them. You're allowed to choose from the top 3 candidates for one position, out of the top 5 for 2 positions, and out of the top 7 for 3 positions. And then you would have, if you do not choose the candidates in the order that they appear, you have to have reasons for the bypass, either pro or con, and you have to articulate that. And then they have the right to appeal that to civil service if you do a bypass. So it is a little more relegated, to a stringent, but anyways.
Chief, if you would you, Ms. Cooper had asked about the implications with regards to benefits and such. If you could talk about that.
Well,
for a
as far
second.
as, I would not be working anybody to, more than, the minimum of, 19 hours, so that way there would now be no health benefits, or anything like that. Do you run the risk anytime you have people on your roster that have worked for you, and if they were to be released from their main employment for unemployment benefits, could the town be named? Absolutely. But that's no different than the auxiliaries or per diem dispatchers or things that we have now. But these officers would be civil service officers. They would be, if the board votes to allow it.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions for the chief, Ms. Cooper?
Would your current budget cover the cost of hiring all of these?
They would, because I would not be looking to expand. They would fall under the union contract, and as you're aware, that Town of Charlton does not provide for the clothing, that they have to incur those costs themselves because that was put into the base. The only thing that I would be responsible for would be like some in-service training, and I would be looking to do as much as that as I could, between in-house and other means. But for the balance of the year, yes, I can afford doing that. To go to anything expanded beyond that, I would have to come back to the town administrator, this board, and the finance committee to, if I wanted to look at having them utilized in a greater capacity. But the new list just came out. I've reviewed it, and I would like to move forward.
Any other questions for the chief?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Zafirovich?
I move that we authorize Chief Preview to initiate the process for hiring 3 permanent intermittent officers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? None appearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. We will now go to our 6:45 appointment with National Grid regarding winter electricity prices. When you are ready, Ms. Craver.
Yes, and speaking with Kevin Shaughnessy, the manager at Community and Customer Management for National Grid, we thought having a representative come to the board's meeting to explain the winter electricity prices would be beneficial. And we've scheduled him for 6:45, and he's here starting to hand out things.
Oh, I got excited for a second.
Yeah. Sir, if you would introduce yourself, please.
I will. Good evening and greetings to the Board of Selectmen members, Town Administrator Craver. My name is Kevin Shaughnessy, and I'm the Community and Customer Manager for the Town of Charlton. I have had a discussion with Town Administrator Craver, and we went through several topics, and she saw value in the winter rates, which can be a complicated subject. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to come in and share the information regarding the topic. Winter energy prices, we've seen some swings over the past couple of winters. They are very much out of our control. There are 2 sections to each customer's bill. There's one for delivery, which we have control over, then there's a portion called supply. In 1998, when National Grid and other investor-owned utilities deregulated in Massachusetts, we were required to divest ourselves of power plants, so we no longer own the power plants. Since that time, we've gone out into the open marketplace, and the schedule of doing that for residential and small business customers is every 6 months we go out into the open marketplace, find the best price we can for our customers for power, and we deliver that price to them. If they have not chosen a competitive supplier, we provide that service to them, and it's called basic service. So the requirement is, and it's a little bit different for the larger commercial customers, they're on a schedule of every 3 months, but for residential and commercial, that's done every 6 months. So the price for supply can represent up to 2/3 of the bill, and that's typically what we find over the past couple of winters, what we found in the November to April period. That's where we're seeing those large swings. The primary reason for that is the power plants in New England are primarily powered today, 50% at least of the fuel that they use is natural gas. In 2000, that was 15%. Unfortunately, the pipeline that delivers that power from the south, from the Gulf of Mexico, from Texas, those pipes have always been in place and have not changed, even though the call for gas coming up through the region into the power plants has increased significantly. There's a capacity bottleneck now because of the growth of gas. And it's not just the power plants. There's been an exponential growth of natural gas customers on the residential and commercial side as well. So because of that constraint, until that changes, we're going to see volatility in the prices going from the spring, summer rates into the fall, winter rates. And that's what we've seen the last couple of winters. Although winter prices are down over last winter, which is when we saw the worst bump that we saw, that unpredictability will remain. National Grid filed new electric supply prices on September 15th, and on the 22nd, the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities approved the pricing for the next 6-month period. Now, as I said, the pricing is a little bit down over last winter, but it's still a significant increase. The price in the spring-summer range was 9.3 cents, and now the price going from November 1st into the end of April will be 13.1 cents. That's actually almost a 42% increase in just the supply on people's bills. It is a little over 19% decrease from last winter, but we know that's still a painful jump for folks, especially those that are on a set budget. A typical residential customer, and we call a customer using 500 kilowatt hours of use a month, a typical residential customer, they'll see an electric bill that's 21.3% higher than the bills were in the spring and summer. That residential customer will see a bill that's 9.1% lower than last winter, but still a 21% jump is significant. In dollars, that typical residential customer's monthly bill will be $110.18 compared with the spring-summer bill for the same usage of $90.82. If we look back at what it was last winter, we had bills in that same consumption range of $121.20. The next couple of slides provide a good graphic, something you can grasp on what is your dollar paying for on an electric bill. Yes?
Sean, if I could just tell the people at home, sitting out there, if you turn around and look up at the screen, the slides that he's going through are there, just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you. So the first slide gives you what the prices were over the spring-summer range, and it tells you also what's on the bill and what sections of that dollar are buying the product that you're getting in your home. So for supply, over the spring-summer, it took up 51%, a little bit more than half the bill, and that was at 9.3 cents. Distribution is actually the delivery of power from substations in our local area into homes and businesses, the end user, up to your meter. Transmission, that's delivery of power from the generating plants in New England across the region up to the distribution start area, which would be the substations. The next section of the bill, which is 1.7 cents, or a little over 9% of the bill, is renewables, which is your solar, your wind, your hydropower, and then energy efficiency, of which Massachusetts is a leader in the nation for energy efficiency programs. And if I can put a plug in, Mass Save does a tremendous job. I've had them at my house. I would only recommend that it's worth the phone call. It's free. We all pay for it. And they provide significant relief with energy efficiency products and work in the home. The last portion of the bill is almost negligible. It's actually a negative number now. It's called transition. And all transition is the cost recovery of the price that we did not get that was still on the books for the power plants when we sold them in 1998, the stranded cost for those. Currently, it's a negative on the bill, which helps customers, and that's primarily because of an appeal we made for decommissioning charges for Yankee Nuclear Power Plant. And we won the appeal, and that money goes back to the ratepayers. So currently, that's a negative on the bill. That charge will disappear within a few years. The next slide gives a good graphic on how much that supply price eats into that $1 bill that we pay that buys us electricity. So at 13.1 cents, we're now almost at 60% of your total bill is your supply piece of your bill. Everything else on the bill that I explained stays the same, but now we're at 22 cents instead of 18.2 cents, which is per kilowatt hour, which is where we were in the spring and summer. So taking control of energy costs, as I mentioned, we know that that jump in electricity cost is hurtful to some people, and it's a challenge to even those that aren't on set budgets. So some of the things that we do is we've gotten aggressive with our marketing campaigns to let folks know about the programs that we have and the incentives that we have for programmable thermostats, high energy efficiency furnaces and boilers. We also offer connection to Mass Save residentially, and as I said, I've had them in my house. They'll bring 6 LED light bulbs and replace incandescent lights for you, which drops your bill. But they also do an awful lot more, and they cover a large amount of the cost for insulation in your home. They also have programs for replacing boilers. So it's a fantastic program, and as I said, we all pay for that, so you might as well utilize it. They'll do a no-cost energy audit in your home. For folks that want to look into some of the equipment, the energy efficiency appliances, there's a link here, www.ngrid.com/billhelp. That helps not only with all those programs, but also energy saving tips that you can do in your home that don't cost anything. For billing options, I know I utilize one of these myself. We offer budget. So when your rates are going up and down, it's great to have a budget, so you're going to pay a flat amount throughout the year. And once a year, National Grid reviews that budget amount to make sure that what you're paying is the right amount, so you're not caught off guard. There is a 6-month review that's done as well, but at the end of the year, they true up with you, and you may end up, which I went from 87 to 84 this year, but it's nice getting a bill where I know what I'm going to be paying each month throughout those periods where there's peaks and valleys on your bill. Another program that we have that helps customers, for low-income customers, we have a arrears forgiveness program. And we'll give our low-income customers with large arrears a one-chance opportunity to enter a payment agreement with us. And provided they keep that payment agreement and complete that program with us, we'll forgive a large portion of their arrears balance. Finally, what we do is encourage everyone, even though it can be a little bit intensive on homework, but you should be out on the websites, our own website, the Mass Department of Energy Resources. They list all the suppliers that are approved to supply power, competitive supply, in New England and Massachusetts. And they'll list for you what the price is. And what I would recommend is that when you do pick a supplier, that you do have a written contract that you've signed. You know the terms of the contract. You know the duration of the contract as well, so you can watch for when that expires and take action to enter into a new agreement or make choices at that point.
Thank you. That was some great information. Do you have any questions? And if people listening are here, have questions on anything that you discussed, Chief?
Just quickly, I just want to make sure that, we recently, had an audit, done of, the building for our insulating, insulation. And the company that came in, did a great job, but said because we use, oil to heat the building, but we use electricity, obviously, to run the boiler and that we weren't gonna qualify for, adding insulation to our building. Do you know if there is something that we're missing, because obviously if the town has to incur all the costs, and that because I'd like to enjoy the savings that we have in the past doing the upgrades with the lights and everything else.
Because it's not electric, and we do serve gas in various communities.
Yeah.
But because it's not electric, it's a fuel that we're not involved with.
Okay.
I wouldn't know, but I will be happy to look into that and follow up with you
Sure.
as to insulation.
Yeah.
Because I know on the residential side, insulation is covered regardless of the fuel that you have
Yeah.
in your home.
That would be great, because the cost was pretty significant for us to upgrade the insulation for the department. So if there was, if we did qualify, that would be great news for the town. The one thing that I do want to say thank you to Mr. Shaughnessy, which I'm not sure if you're aware. Thursday, he worked with, speaking with Verizon and the pole that we've been after to get reset on Osgood Road. They scheduled an officer to be there for the pole reassignment location, so that way the road is wider and safer for the residents over there on Osgood and Brookfield Road that traverse that area. So I want to thank you for your help on that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else, any other questions? And as I had started to say, if people have questions regarding anything that you discussed this evening, is this 800-322-3223 number
That is good.
a good number for them to
Yes.
call?
Is that also on their bill?
Yes,
All
it
that
is.
information that you gave tonight should be on their electric bill?
Well, all of that information, it'll show where supply is, and the 1-800 number is there as well, if they want to continue that discussion or have any other questions. That's our customer service center, and by all means, we're well-versed, each call center rep, in the questions of supply.
Great information. Thank you very much for taking the time to come out and enlighten us.
You're most welcome, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Happy Veterans Day to any of the veterans we have amongst us.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, before we leave that topic,
Ms. Craver?
at one of the last meetings, as you know, town meeting voted to authorize us to aggregate, and we were with HCOG. After speaking with Kevin, it seems to make sense to possibly continue to look at that, especially for the residents, because being out on the open free market, as he suggested, does cost more if you're in that big pool versus having a negotiated aggregation. So I know at one point we were going to let it sit, but I think I would like to bring it back up to you and have you authorize me to look at that again. I found two companies that are in the aggregation business and have had some success with the Department of Utilities, and they would like to come in and talk with me.
Would you be more comfortable if that was done in a form of a motion? Or,
Yes, well, since we had talked about it and we weren't going to pursue it, that would be
okay.
helpful.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Zafirovich?
I move that we authorize the town administrator to look into electricity aggregation for the town.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. None appearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And we will move on now to our one item under old business, which is the discussion of the Southbridge landfill expansion.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Cooper?
as an abutter to an abutter, I'd like to recuse myself.
Thank you. And just for the record, Ms. Cooper will be staying in the room, so we'll maintain our quorum.
Mr. Chair?
Ms. Craver?
It's come to our attention that the Sturbridge Board of Selectmen have written to Secretary Matthew Beaton of the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs regarding the proposed expansion of the Casella landfill in Southbridge. The Sturbridge Board of Selectmen are concerned about the impact of this project on its residents in Sturbridge due to the recent report of detected 1,4-dioxane in a residential well in Charlton, presuming to be caused from the Southbridge landfill. They forwarded a copy of that letter to Senator Ann Goby, who in turn supported them in their request by writing to Secretary Beaton as well. And she is actually, her office is the one that contacted us and let us know about this. I would ask the board to review this and see if it would behoove us to do the same on behalf of the town of Charlton. So in your packet, actually, if you go to, you'll see the next letter that you have is Leon Gamon's, the town administrator in the town of Sturbridge's letter to Secretary Beaton, requesting two things mainly: to be kept aware of the issues and a desire for a bond. They liken this concept about a bond to casinos and the impacted communities that abut those casinos. This would be something new, but the request was made. If you look further down, you will see a letter from Senator Goby, and that is on, I believe, 47. And she writes, my office was copied on a letter sent to you by the town of Sturbridge enclosed, expressing their concerns with the proposed expansion of the Casella landfill. I would like to echo these concerns. The town is incredibly close to the proposed site, dramatically raising the risk of water contamination. I respectfully ask that the town of Sturbridge be made aware of ongoing discussions during the consideration of the Southbridge landfill expansion. I would also like to discuss the town's desire for bond protection, similar to mitigation granted to communities abutting casinos. My first priority is protecting the town and its residents, and if bond protection is a possibility, I would like to explore that option. Thank you for taking the time to hear my concerns, and I look forward to working with you on this issue, Senator Ann Goby. So I brought this to you, one, to see if you'd like to send a similar letter, and if Senator Goby does sit down with Secretary Beaton and on this issue, I think it would be helpful if Charlton was also
Agreed.
on board.
Agreed. Thoughts, Mrs. Efroge, with regards to sending a letter requesting to remain in the loop, informed, and requesting possible bond protection?
I think both are just the smart things to do, to stay in the loop and to, protect the town as best we can. It just makes a lot of sense to send that letter and to be part of all negotiations and meetings.
Would you care to offer that as a motion?
So moved.
Then I will second that. And any discussion on the motion? I believe we already covered that. In favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We have 2 aye, 1 abstention. Motion carries. Ms. Craver, do you have anything else with regards to the landfill? I believe that's it for this evening.
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. Then you can. How we want to act as a board. Do we have any committee reports this evening, or do we have any policy reviews? None appearing. We'll move on to our student select persons report. Ms. Ross? Oh, we need a microphone.
Yeah.
A microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alrighty. So this week marks the beginning of the second quarter here at Shepherd Hill. First quarter ended on Friday, and students received their report cards.
Folks, we're still having a meeting. Please, if you take your discussions outside. Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Ross, please continue.
So anyways, the week of October 25th to the 28th, NEAS visited, which is the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, where we wish to receive our accreditation from them to make our high school better, and especially kids applying to college. It looks much better on our college application. So we were all in our best behavior and everything, of course.
Of course.
The staff and the students were interviewed, and the classes were observed, and things like that, to get a good impression from those people that came and visited. And it was all just the attempt to earn that accreditation for the school. The students do their report cards on Friday, and we have a new system at the school, so we weren't able to see GPAs and class ranks, but we were all able to see who made first honors, second honors, and recognition. And the PSATs took place about a month ago, so all the sophomores and juniors they're really anxious to see their grades and see how they did, to see how they'll do on the actual SATs. The football is 4 and 5 because they've been playing very hard teams this year. They've been playing like the top 10 teams in Central Mass, and it's been a very tough season for them.
But they had a tough start, but then rallied and have been doing much better of
They've
late,
been doing
right?
much better, yeah. They're
yeah.
playing 2 like consolation games in the playoffs right now, and they have
Okay.
Doherty on Friday, and it's a home game. So if anybody
Oh, good.
wanted to stop by and see, it should be a very good game. But the record can't really like reflect their ability as a team because they're just playing the toughest teams, and they're actually in Division 4 and they're playing Division 2 teams.
Wow.
They've only played a couple Division 4 teams. The boys and girls soccer, they've been doing really great. They both made the districts, but they finished up. They made like the first and second games of districts, and they finished really good records. So we're really proud of them too. And then the golf, the volleyball, the cross country, and the field hockey teams all had very good seasons, and they're celebrating with banquets like this week and next week to finish off the seasons before winter sports begin. We're proud to say that the marching band received first place at Nationals in New Jersey.
that.
Yeah, we're very proud. It was actually really nice because we were all at the homecoming dance on Saturday, and Mrs. Prangeli made an announcement to all of us, and she's like, they're going to be here in 10 minutes if anybody wants to go outside and welcome them home. And it was just such a nice moment because like everybody went outside and onto the sidewalk, and we all
That's
had
great.
balloons, and it was just a really awesome moment
That's
to
great.
be a part of Shepherd Hill. We were all there. We saw their huge trophy, which is like 8 feet tall. I don't even know where they put it yet. I don't know where they're going to put it. It's so big. And the show choir is still practicing really hard to get their one this year too. They're like there every day and on weekends and stuff. In the student council, they have a conference on Friday for leadership, which is for the students who want to demonstrate great leadership roles, and it's like $15 to go. So a lot of kids are taking that opportunity to go and learn something new. The homecoming dance was this past Saturday, where we saw the band. The student council made a really good profit. We sold about like 300 tickets. It was Paris Under the Stars, and had a really good turnout, and there were lights like all over the cafeteria. It was awesome. And then Mr. Shepherd Hill is next week. It's the school's male talent pageant show. It's next Thursday, like I said. It's one of Shepherd Hill's most sought after events, and it almost fills the auditorium. Like, it's sold out every year. We have Miss Massachusetts guest judging.
Wow.
I'm not really sure how we swung that, but we did. Somebody had a connection, so
I
she's going to
guess
be
so.
there. Yeah, we have a few teachers, and then we have her, so the boys are really excited. They've been working hard. They have like practice every Sunday. Yeah,
Extra
who
time
would
in
have
the
thought,
gym,
right?
huh?
And then that kicks off Spirit Week, which is going to be next Thursday and Friday, and then the Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And we have class color day, school color day, tie-dye day. We have like an Army-Navy day where we like do like the forces and stuff like that. And then we have like a dynamic duo day, which is like a twin day. And then we finished off with pep rally, which is on the half day before Thanksgiving, and the whole school gets in the cafeteria, and we do a whole bunch of fun stuff. And we just celebrate the school and its teams, and then the holiday season is about to begin. So the craft fair and the music department's Christmas Spectacular are about to come up, so I'll be with notifications of that very soon.
Terrific.
That's about it.
Busy time up there, huh?
Yeah, definitely. The first
Do you have
quarter
any
was
questions
crazy.
for Bailey? I just have one. You mentioned that you weren't able to see class rankings and grade point averages yet,
No.
that type of thing.
It's driving me
I've
insane.
read, I bet it is. I've read that some schools are doing away with class rankings. Is Shepherd Hill
Really?
considering that? You know?
It's not that. We used to use iPass last year, and we have
Okay.
a new system this year, which is a
Okay.
computer system, and they just have like it's a little behind on that.
Okay,
I
so
think
there
we're
still will be class
we're
rankings
still
and all
doing
of
that.
that,
Yeah, I
just a
haven't heard
different way
anything
to
about
get them.
that, but
Okay.
that's interesting.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
We will now be followed by the town administrator's report, Ms. Graver.
Thank you. That's a tough act to follow.
Sure is.
Miss Massachusetts.
Miss
That is
Massachusetts.
awesome.
I can't wait.
Congratulations. Okay, well, mine's a little more dry.
Yeah.
Tax classification hearing. It's that time of the year when the Board of Assessors are asking the Board of Selectmen to set the tax rate. We have scheduled the hearing for November 24th at 7 p.m. Let me rephrase that. You don't set the tax rate, you set the classifications and make the agreements on those classifications, and then the assessors will set the tax rate. We have scheduled the hearing for November 24th at 7 p.m. If the Board of Assessors are not ready at that time, you will be asked to continue the hearing until the next Selectmen's meeting on December 8th. National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, called NEPDES. I've been asked to sit on a state advisory committee that is evaluating the opportunity to seek authorization from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to oversee and implement the Federal Clean Water Act National Pollution Discharge Elimination System program. The NEFDES program includes permit issuance, compliance, and enforcement activities for facilities that discharge pollutants into surface waters in Massachusetts, and is currently administered by the EPA. There was a study done in 2013, and the Commissioner wishes to update the information, including the elements of a successful program, re-examining the staffing needs and cost estimates. I would be the only town administrator on the panel and would bring the concerns of additional cost to municipalities as a valid concern. The first meeting will be held in Boston, November 23rd from 2 to 4. I have attached Commissioner Suberg's letter and the member list for your review. Route 20 reconstruction. Much time last week was devoted to meeting with state and local representatives to move the timeline up on public safety measures that protect drivers on Route 20. As you know, there were 2 accidents in a week time on a stretch of Route 20 that is earmarked to be fixed in 2025. The death of a mother and child has re-energized the need to install safety measures immediately. And to that end, I'm happy to say that construction began over the weekend to widen the road and install guardrails. Last night, there was a meeting in Oxford that was well attended, where the Mass DOT had rolled out all the measures. Some more, they are going to be installing, and they've confirmed now that they will be installing guardrail in the center. They're hoping to get about 2 to 6 feet on either side, so that we'll have a little bit more of a buffer. They're going to be putting lights and signage. One of the signage pieces will give motorists a flashing of what their speed is, and they are doing an audit to take a look at the speed. And there was a lot of requests to lower the speed limit. There's been some significant enforcement, and we were told that drivers on that road are clocking in at 70 and 80 miles an hour.
believe that.
So, they have just, the state police has done a great job in getting out there and slowing the traffic down. They're also looking at putting some lights that kind of will guide you around the corner. So they're motion detected, and they will kind of start as you approach. So we're pleased with the measures that they're taking. Everyone agreed that those are temporary measures. They did talk a bit about the commitment that our representatives have, as well as the governor's office and the secretary of DOT down to the Worcester office, to not wait until 2025. And we have been assured that they're going to be doing as much as we can, and actually getting started some of the things that they would have put off and waited till later.
Good.
Such as starting to look at the takings and things like that, which is a long process. So we're happy on the movement, and we appreciate the assistance of Representative Paul Frost and the other representatives. And I mentioned Representative Frost because he did kind of take the lead and did pulled the charge through for us. Any questions on that?
But actually, if I could, Chief, a question on this for you, if I could. We've had discussions before on how we determine posted speed limits on town roads. Is that the same process for state roads like Route 20, or do they have different parameters they use?
The state works off the same 85th percentile for posting of the state highway. There are certain provisions when there is deemed like a serious safety factor, and I know that they were going to look at that. And then the other thing is whether there was any type of legislative action that might be needed to, make an exception there. So they're looking at all of that. Like the town administrator said, there will be signage that will be up to document the speed of the motorists, and that will collect the data and show over a period of time what those speeds are through there. So once the construction is done and the guardrails are in there, they'll have a better idea, what those, the speeds are over a period of time. So as we move forward with construction, if there are other things that need to be done. But I would just say to you that your legislative representatives on the Hill have, worked diligently to get this moving forward. And the lieutenant governor and the governor have heard those cries, from this district. And Mass DOT has been a true partner in this. This project, the timeline, we're hoping, to have everything in place by at least by the end of the year, depending on weather and, construction and materials and everything else. They are talking about possibility of running 2 shifts. I don't think when we talked to them last night, they told us they were shying away from a 3rd shift. They didn't see the productivity on other job sites, so they were going to try and maintain 2 aggressive shifts to move forward. But, so you'll see that in place. And I would ask everybody going through there to be patient, because all the work being done is for everyone's safety. So I know sometimes, you may want to think about those people that live in town, may think about alternate routes, so then that they don't find themselves caught, maybe in the backup. And for those people who live on the respective streets like Oxford Road and Stafford Street, that they are patient with the extra flow of traffic while construction is going on, but also not to be silent and to call the police department if there are issues that we need to do uptick in enforcement, so that way they're safeguarded as well during this time.
Thanks, Chief. If they
So-
just go, yes, Ms. Craver.
Also, they did promise that they would remove the construction materials and open that road up for the weekend of Thanksgiving,
I
which,
saw that.
as you know, becomes quite a backup as people are avoiding or paralleling the Mass Pike.
If they just go by the 85 percentile, the speed limit on that road would be going up, not down. People do fly down that road.
That was a comment that was made that night.
Good.
And they did say that they would be looking at that, and there is a strong contingency asking for it to go from 55 back down to 50.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. I'm sorry, Ms. Gravy, if you want to continue.
Veterans Ceremony at Masonic Home. I had the honor of addressing a group of veterans at the Masonic Home Wednesday, November 4th. Charlton Middle School participated by sending the 5th grade chorus accompanied by Mrs. Potter. Each year, the Legion puts on a ceremony to honor veterans at the home, and it's quite a moving experience. Regarding veterans in Charlton, I'd also like to express my thanks to Selectman Cooper for her article in the Charlton Villager. She reminded us of the caring, dedicated, and patriotic community that is Charlton, and I know I'm proud to serve here. So thank you. And that's all I have at this time.
Thank you. Do you have questions for the town administrator? Do we have any other business to come before the board?
Just want to say,
Chief?
just a thank you. I just want to say thank you to the Charlton Highway Department. We had some serious overgrowth at the bottom of the hill Bay Path at the driveway, so the line of sight was being compromised. And so we met with the highway superintendent and Principal Cloutier, and Mr. Foskett and his crew went up there, and if you look at it, they really groomed the hill real well. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Foskett. We had a concern about pedestrian safety, and he is looking at putting the newer, more visible pedestrian walk signs and arrows that will bring attention to the people that are utilizing the center down here, especially the people from Meadowview. So Mr. Foskett's looking at acquiring those signs and putting them up. So, and he's also working with the school, because right now there's not enough, there's no warning sign saying the entrance to Bay Path. And so we're looking at signage to let the motoring public know that there's an entrance coming up for the school. So that's in the works too. So if you see those signs going up, it's because of the cooperation of the highway superintendent, working with my department and the respective school, and like with the elder housing, because I had met with them about their concerns about pedestrian safety. So He's been very open, and we're moving those things forward, so I just want to say thank you to him.
To that end, it's funny you should mention that. To
Yeah.
that end, are there signs that can be put at crosswalks that for motorists to see?
They're,
Are
they're
they
actually there. They say $100 fine. If you're actually looking for them, they are out there already.
Twice
You'll-
today in town, I saw cars blowing through crosswalks when people were trying to
Yeah,
cross.
It's,
I know.
it's, the problem that you're having that, is whether they're going through stop signs or crosswalks or what have you, when pedestrians are looking to cross. A lot of people are just so much in a hurry. While this meeting was convened, people from Berry Corner Road were telling me about an incident that they just witnessed where a motorist passed a bus, and the gentleman told me that when he was heading to work, going through Berry Corner, that he had 2 cars passing him over there. So I'm going to look at seeing what we can do to assist that area. But just what we're seeing out on Route 20 and everywhere, just people are so much in a hurry, and they're not taking enough time to get to their destinations, and they're just breaking the law. And we just see that more and more, and obviously across the country with road rage and everything else. So if people could be more accommodating and compliant with the law, we'd be a whole lot safer. And the issues that we saw down on the curve, over the years, wouldn't be so, they probably wouldn't have occurred if people were driving proper speeds and not under the influence as well.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Actually, the chief reminded me of something, that came into the office today. I received notification, and I wish I had thought of it while Kevin was here. National Grid is going to be taking down 20-plus trees in the town's right-of-way. And we're very glad of that. One, we would have to be doing it ourselves, so we're saving a lot of money by National Grid doing it. And two, it means that they are continuing their tree work, which means as we're getting closer to winter and storms and ice storms, everyone remembers what happened. I know, especially you.
Yes,
of
I do.
Being out of power for 2 weeks, and a lot of that was because of the trees
Yep.
coming down on the wires. So they've been doing a great job. So you'll see them out there cutting some trees down.
Terrific, good news, thank you. Do you have any other business to come before the board? None appearing, Mr. Zafirovich?
Mr. Chair, I move that we enter executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, for reasons: number 1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. For reason number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body. And for reason number 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate if the chair declares an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the public body.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We'll go roll call vote. Mr. Zafirovich?
Aye.
Ms. Cooper?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and Chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. We are now in executive session. We will exit executive session solely for the purpose of adjournment. Once again, we will be holding our Conflict of Interest Seminar November 17th here in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 5 p.m. for employees, 6:30 p.m. for all boards, committees, and commissions. And the next regular Selectmen's meeting will be on Tuesday, November 24th, 2015. Thank you all, and good night.